Buying a gaming laptop in 2021, it's a great way to get into PC gaming right now. But what gaming laptop is best for you? What do you need to know in order to find the best gaming laptop? How much performance difference is there between a gaming laptop and a gaming desktops? And are all gaming laptops with the same specs created equally? Or are some gaming laptops going to perform better than others? We're going to go through all of this and make specific product recommendations for every budget level for the best gaming laptop 2021 for you. And that is coming right up. Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. I am really excited for today's video because we get to talk about fun gaming products that are actually in stock, where we as gamers have an actual choice, unlike the desktop graphics card market, right? And today we're focused on the best gaming laptops 2021 edition. Now, there's a number of things to know when buying a gaming laptop, and we're going to go through a brief explainer of what you need to know in order to get that best gaming laptop in 2021 for your budget and performance expectations. Then we'll run through specific products that I would recommend at every budget level. All the links to the products are going to be down in the video description below, so remember to check those out. And like my other best of videos, I'm going to go through those links a couple times a week and take out anything that does go out of stock and put in the best current deals in the video description so this video stays up to date. Of course, that's what this channel is all about. It's about getting you the best price to performance in your PC. And if that's content you want to support, remember, number one, like the video for the algorithm. It makes a huge difference to our growing channel. By the way, we just crossed the 25,000 subscriber mark at the time of this video. And if you want to join us, of course, subscribe and click the bell icon. With that, let's jump into it. Let's first talk about what kind of performance you can expect from a gaming laptop with a GPU like an RTX 3070 and a desktop with an RTX 3070 GPU. Now, the difference is what has always set desktops like this aside from laptops. It's the amount of power and cooling that they can provide to get higher performance. And as long as gaming laptops are limited to being portable enough to take with you, their performance is always going to be less versus the same named desktop product. So for instance, let's take an RTX 3070 GPU as an example. On the desktop, this is a 220 watt rated part, and cards come with an absolutely massive cooler. I mean, look at this thing right here. On the laptop end, a 3070, however, can actually range from 80 watts on the low end all the way up to 125 watts, depending on the specific laptop configuration, with the lower power chips typically coming in lighter and thinner gaming laptops, and the full 125 watt versions usually coming in the beefier battle station laptops with increased power and cooling. Now, looking through the full lineup of RTX 3000 series mobile laptop SKUs, it's a bit daunting. So one key piece of information you're going to need when making your laptop decision is called the TGP number, expressed in wattage. It's the total graphics power, and that's going to tell you how much power that GPU has. Now, in addition, NVIDIA has introduced a new feature with the RTX 3000 laptops called Dynamic Boost 2.0. That takes unused power from the CPU and temporarily boosts the power to the GPU. Because gaming is mostly GPU intensive, the CPU usually does have some power to spare, and this does help performance with models that have Dynamic Boost 2.0 enabled. Looking at the difference in testing by PC Magazine of 3 different RTX 3070 gaming laptops, we can see a big performance difference between the 3. The Alienware R14 laptop is a beefy beast of a gaming laptop and has full power enabled and dynamic boost. And it absolutely smokes the Asus TUF gaming laptop. Of course, the trade-off is portability, with the Asus TUF Gaming a much thinner and lighter version with still very good gaming performance, just not quite the world beater that the Alienware R14 is. Of course, when you're looking at the graphics card specs for your laptop, you might see the moniker Max-Q in there and think, oh, that must be a good thing. It must mean I have more performance. In fact, it does not. It means exactly the opposite. Max-Q cards appear in lighter and thinner laptops and laptops with less power and less cooling, and as a result, they have less performance. Now, you get more portability, and you won't get the jet engine sound of the laptop fans firing up. However, just know that what the trade-off is you are going to get slightly less performance than the full power version of those cards. Now looking at performance numbers and differences between the desktop and laptop versions, TechSpot did a wonderful deep dive comparison between different laptop models and desktops, and I'll leave a link to that article in the description if you want to read it in more detail. But here are the major takeaways from their gaming benchmarks. First, in terms of differences between laptops and desktops, a full power RTX 3070 laptop GPU operating at 115 watts provides about 80% as much performance as the desktop version across a 19 game benchmark at 1440p resolution, high settings, and about 75% as much performance as the desktop version at 1080p high settings. When comparing the lower power 80 watt RTX 3070 laptop version, this gap grows with the desktop and sees the 80 watt version providing 65% as much performance as the desktop variant at both 1440p and 1080p. When comparing the 115 watt RTX 3070, we find the performance is just about equal to a desktop version of an RTX 2070 Super. Leaving the desktop aside, the 115 watt RTX 3070 mobile GPU was on average 30% faster than its predecessor, the 115 watt 2070 mobile GPU, while the 80 watt RTX 3070 was 12% faster than the 90 watt RTX 2070 Super Max Q. Gosh, that's a mouthful, isn't it? The RTX 3060 115 watt mobile version was roughly the same as the RTX 3070 80 watt mobile GPU, while the RTX 3060 and 3070 GPUs at equal power draw saw the 3070 pull ahead by 15 to 30% depending on the power limit. That's the GPU, but what about the CPU? Thankfully, it's a lot more simple. For current generation RTX 3000 laptops, the CPUs you'll see right now at the time of this video are either Ryzen 5000 or Intel 10th generation CPUs, both of which are going to be from their H SKU, meaning high performance, denoted by an H after the number. In terms of raw performance for gaming, Intel's 10th generation and Ryzen 5000 CPUs roughly trade blows across different gaming titles. Where there is a noticeable difference in the CPUs is in productivity workloads, particularly anything that's multi-threaded. Of course, we're focused on the best gaming laptops 2021, not the best productivity laptops. But it is worth noting that if you also intend to get some real work done, like professional level video editing, the Ryzen 5000 CPUs pretty much outperform the current Intel offerings. But remember again that gaming performance is generally controlled by the GPU you're getting and far less by the CPU. For those looking to the previous generations of laptops, you will also find Ryzen 4000 and Intel 9th generation CPUs as well. Looking even a little further back, there are still some Ryzen 3000 series and Intel 8th generation CPUs, though you'll likely find these on clearance deals. At this point, I'd mostly focus on the GPU and how good a deal you're getting versus a more current generation gaming laptop, rather than having to worry about the CPU. I do expect the next generation of Tiger Lake CPUs to be coming out in the second half of 2021, so could be any time now. But any gamer will be well served by getting a Ryzen 5000 or current generation Intel CPU, even if that is Tiger Lake when it comes out, and worrying more about the GPU than the CPU because that's where most of your performance is going to lie. Of course, there's still the display panel to consider. If you're using the laptop as a desktop replacement and hooking it up to an external monitor, you're not going to worry about this as much. But for those of you who will be using the screen, there are a couple of key things to focus on. The first is screen size. Now, the more common screen sizes are 15 and 17 inch, but there are of course smaller and lighter models around the 13.3 inch range. Now, obviously one thing to note is that the larger the screen, the larger the laptop itself, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, gaming laptop panels come in a variety of resolutions and refresh rates, with the most common being 1080p, 144 Hz. But panels for some models begin at 240 Hz and go all the way up to 360 Hz. And there are, of course, models with both 1440p as well as 4K panels. So let's start with 4K and work our way down. While a 4K panel is fine for video editing on the go if you're dealing with 4K video, it isn't great for gaming given the slower performance of the mobile GPUs, which really don't rise to the level of being 4K gaming GPU worthy. A 1440p monitor paired with a high-end RTX 3070 or 3080 on the other hand, these are mobile, offers a good compromise between high resolution and decent gaming performance. The super high refresh rate 1080p panels are great for playing competitive titles, so if you're into esports shooters and that's your thing, that's likely what you're going to want to gravitate towards with those higher end mobile GPUs. And of course, as we go down in the budget and GPU performance, we're going to want to land in the 1080p 144 Hz range for GPUs like the RTX 3060 and below. What about memory and storage? So what you're going to find most of the time with gaming laptops is that you want 16 gigabytes of memory, and you should be able to get that on models that are $1,000 or more. Models that are below $1,000, you may have to settle for 8 gigabytes. However, I would urge you to hold out for 16 gigabytes as that will significantly improve your gaming experience. Of course, if you're looking to do mobile video editing, you might want to consider getting 32 gigabytes. Just know that if you do, you're going to pay a pretty steep price premium, and I would recommend looking at getting something in the customizable laptop range, which we'll get to when we get to the recommendations. In terms of the storage on the laptop itself, I'd recommend getting absolutely as much as you can, especially SSD storage. I don't know they still do install hard drives in a lot of these laptops. The reason is it's not inconceivable or impossible to swap out memory and storage in a laptop. It's just a real pain in the rear. And I would strongly recommend that rather than approaching it like you would a pre-built or a custom-built PC, approach it as a one-time purchase that you're going to buy everything you need right now, and you're only going to upgrade in the future if you absolutely have to. So that's the way I would approach this. In terms of other features like RGB, like the onboard audio and things of that nature, they're all roughly the same. I'm focusing mostly on gaming performance today because I know that's what people want in a gaming laptop. So if these other features are important to you, like the fingerprint scanner and things of that nature, then I would recommend starting with the models that I'm going to recommend as a baseline and then expanding out into some other recommendations based on other reviewers. Let's start off with the absolute best of the best RTX 3080 gaming laptops right now, and that is the Alienware M15R4. Why is this the best? It's because this has the highest TGP rating. Remember, that's the total graphics power of any of the RTX 3080s laptops on the market, at least right now. And it's got an incredibly beefy cooling solution, and it runs at 165 watts TGP. Of course, this is not a thin and light laptop you're just going to throw in your backpack and run around. It is portable. You could take it to a friend's house, you could take it to the park or something like that, but you want this thing plugged in, and it's going to be kind of heavy. But of course, in exchange for that, you're going to get phenomenal performance. It comes with 32 gigs of DDR4 2933 for $2,547 right now. I'd expect that price to float around a little bit, but about $2,500 to $2,600, maybe even $2,700, depending on how you kit it out. That's the other thing I really like about Dell's offerings. I've been a critic of Dell in the past. I think they happen to be doing a great job, however, with this laptop and with the Alienware M15R4 laptop series. You can upgrade the CPU. I would not. I would stick with the i7 10870H. I don't think for $400 you're going to see any difference whatsoever in terms of getting an i9. Then, of course, I would stay with the included 1080p 300 Hertz panel over the 4K upgrade you can get for about $200, because the 4K upgrade is only going to give you 60 FPS. And that's really if you just want to do super high-end video editing. But I would definitely stick with the amazing panel that it comes with. You can also upgrade the storage. $98 for an additional terabyte is a steal in the laptop world. My goodness, that's actually a really great price. Hard to believe we're seeing great prices right now given the state of the PC parts market. And then, of course, other things of that nature. But if you were looking for the best of the best of the best in something that's portable, this is the Alienware M15R4 all the way, hands down. The best thin and quote-unquote light laptop at the RTX 3080 level right now, at least in my estimation, is the Razer Blade 15. Now, they call this the advanced gaming laptop. They've got the basic, they've got the pro. You're looking for the advanced one. It's the thinner and lighter version of it. This has a 360 hertz 1080p display, which is really phenomenal. It's got a lot of RGB built into it as well. And you can fold this thing up and comfortably put it into a backpack as you would any other type of 15-inch laptop. So that's a huge bonus for it. Now you are going to pay a little bit of a performance premium as a result. Although the cooling on this is very good, the TGP has been dialed back on this. As a result, you will get better battery life too. So not that you're going to run this thing off a battery when you're gaming, you definitely want to make sure you're always plugged in. But this is going to be a lot more light and portable, and you're going to be able to get a lot more portability out of it. Still comes with 32 gigs of RAM, and it comes with 1 terabyte SSD. Again, overall, if you're looking for something that you can actually slide into a backpack and take around and use as an everyday laptop in addition to it being just an awesome gaming machine, and you're willing to pay a little bit of a performance premium on that, for $3,000, the Razer Blade 15 Advanced, this is the laptop for you. Of course, there are other RTX 3080 laptops out there that probably deserve your attention. It's just at the time of this video, so many of them are sold out. One to take a look at is the Aorus 15G. I'll just do a couple of honorable mentions here. You can get with 32 gigs of memory for $2,639. Now this has a lower TGP, just warning you, but it does offer fewer trade-offs in terms of portability than the Dell does. Not quite as great as the Razer, but it is only, it's about $300 or $400 less than the Razer at the same time. So if you're looking, this is another one to consider. But frankly, I think the first two are really strong choices, and keep checking the video description. If some of the newer ones, especially the Ryzen 5000 CPU ones with an RTX 3080 come into stock, that's where you'll find them. Now we're going to drop down an entire graphics card tier to an RTX 3070. And the first thing you're going to notice right off the bat is you go, Jason, how is this laptop only $1,861 when the other laptops were like $2,500 up to $3,000 for just one tier of graphics card? That's how overheated the GPU market still is, even at the laptop level, for RTX 3080s, which are hard to get. For the 3070s, which are a different die, you can get them much cheaper. Now, I've spec'd this one out because in a gaming configuration, so I've chopped it down to 16 gigs of DDR4 3200 megahertz memory. Remember, Dell does allow you to add in this customization, which I think is really great. And this has a Ryzen 7 5800H. That's an 8-core, 16-thread CPU. Really phenomenal performer, especially in productivity tasks. This is a laptop that if you want to do amateur level video editing for a YouTube channel or something like that, this would just absolutely kill it. Does only come with 512 gigs of SSD space. You can, of course, upgrade that down here as we go. Now, the panel on this, the display panel, it comes with a 1080p 165 hertz panel. And I think for this, that's probably plenty. But for only $78, if you really want to, you can actually upgrade this to a 1440p panel that's 240 hertz. So that's a really phenomenal option for only 80 bucks. And for those of you who are, really into higher resolution games, that's definitely something that I would take a look at and maybe engage on. The other thing is you don't get as good of a deal adding storage as you do at the 3080 level. That's because they're already making a lot of money off of you up there. So, $98 for another 500 gigs of storage. It's still, though, for a laptop storage, that's still not bad in terms of price. Not good, but it's not bad in terms of pricing. So I might also think about upping it to 1 terabyte as well. But overall, to me, again, this is going to have the highest TGP of all of them. This is going to have a really phenomenal cooling solution. You can't really beat the Alienware M15. This is the R5 because these are the Ryzen CPUs. So then for thinner and lighter RTX 3070 laptops, let's take a look at the Razer Blade 15 base. This is not the advanced. The advanced is actually quite a bit more, but this is the base. This has a 144 hertz 1080p panel on it. It's got, like I said, RTX 3070. I believe the TGP on this is 95 watts. It's considerably down from the Alienware version, but again, this is something you can fold up and take with you. It's 4.5 pounds. It's a very compact package, and you could actually use this as an everyday laptop. It comes with an i7-10750H processor. Alternatively, if you don't want to sacrifice this much performance, there is a 130 watt TGP version called the MSI GP66. And this laptop, now a little heavier, it comes in around what the Alienware does, but is in a thinner package, if you will, overall. Has a 144 hertz display, full HD 1080p display, i7-10750H. Again, for me, I really like the Dell Alienware, but if you're looking for something a little bit more portable, look to the Razer. And if you're looking for something kind of in between, take a look at the MSI GP66. Now we're going to drop down to another tier of graphics cards, the RTX 3060 tier. You could also start looking for RTX 2070 Supers as well from a previous generation. That would also be a good buy. We're going to start off with probably the best performing one, definitely the best performing one. Again, Alienware M15, you've seen it already. Let's just hit the highlights on this one. This is a Ryzen 7 5800H RTX 3060. Again, highest TGP that you're going to find for 3060s. Dell just made the decision that that's how they're going to do this. I've configured this one, and the link will be down in the description, for 512 gigs of storage. Unfortunately, you cannot upgrade this beyond 512 gigs, which kind of blows my mind a little bit, but of course it does have two M.2 slots, and if you bought an M.2 drive yourself, you can install it. It's not impossible to do. It has a 165 hertz 1080p panel, which is plenty for the 3060. You don't want to upgrade. You can't upgrade the panel, but you wouldn't want to because you wouldn't get the frame rate out of it necessary. So overall, again, if you want the highest level of performance at the 3060 level, this is it. However, I know we're getting down to a budget level where you're probably looking for best value as well. So let's jump into some best value RTX 3060 laptops that have slightly less performance, but for a whole lot less money. Now let's take a look at one of the absolute cheapest RTX 3060 laptops, and that is the Asus TUF Dash for $1,150 right now over at Best Buy. Now this comes with a Tiger Lake CPU, an 11th gen i7. Now, on the 3070 version of this, some of the reviewers found that it actually bottlenecked the 3070. However, with the 3060, that shouldn't be a concern here. And for $1,150, you got to know that you're getting lower TGP out of this thing, but you are getting the thinner and lighter laptop. It's got great battery life, 512 gigs of SSD storage. Overall, again, 16 gigabytes of RAM. Not much else to say about it other than it's got a 144 hertz 1080p panel on it, which is perfectly adequate for the 3060. So if you are on the cash strap side and you're looking just around that $1,000 mark, this is definitely one to consider. Some other laptops, because obviously the pricing will change. The lowest one now may go up a couple $100. So let me give you some other ones to take a look at in the interim. Now I'm going to rapid fire through these because we're getting to a point where they all come with 144 hertz 1080p panels. They all come with about 512 gigabytes of storage. You can sometimes upgrade that, sometimes not. And they all come with RTX 3060s in a small and light package, so the TGP is dialed back a little bit, but you could use all of these as an everyday laptop as well. So let's start off Acer Predator Helios 300. That's $1,350 right now over at Amazon. Again, check the links in the description. I will continue to change them out as we get better deals. Take a look at the MSI GF65. Similar package, nothing which really to write home about. These are all 10th gen i7s. And then of course we've got the Gigabyte G5. Again, this is actually an i5 10500H, so slightly less in terms of the CPU power on this. $1,200 over at Newegg. Okay, now we're down into the sub $1,000 laptop market, and this is where I really feel like so many people spend a lot of money on a pile of garbage that never going to deliver on anything they're looking for a gaming laptop. So I just want to give you some general guidance and show you a couple of things that get you pointed in the right direction. I will continue to search for good deals under $1,000 and put them in the description. They go pretty quickly, so if you see them there, grab it. If not, it'll probably go away in about a week or so. That's just the sub $1,000 gaming laptop market. You're typically buying something that's 2 or 3 generations old. So what should you be looking for? Well, number one, you want to get 16 gigabytes of memory. There are no modern games that run well on 8 gigabytes right now, and that is almost as important as the graphics card you're going to get. The other thing, I would stay away from GTX 1650s, 1050 Ti's. Those are just trash tier garbage graphics. You can almost find with the Ryzen 5000 series APUs you'll find a better integrated graphics solution on a lot of them. So I would recommend taking a look at something like this, the Acer Nitro i5-10300. It's got a GTX 1650 Ti. It's got a Ti in the name. That's important if you're going to get a 1650 or 16 Super card. And it's got 16 gigs of memory. Yes, it's everything else is cut down in it, but you will get a decent gaming experience out of this. I will say though, for $950, for only $200 more, you can get a significantly better product. You can get an RTX 3060. Suddenly you're in a totally different universe. Similarly, over here at Amazon, there is the Asus TUF Gaming, i5-10300, 16 gigs of RAM. Again, another 1650 Ti for $1,000. That's about what you're looking for. If you're getting down to the $700-800 range, I would begin looking at Ryzen 4000 and 5000 CPUs that have good integrated graphics, but you're probably not going to be happy with the end result of that. So that's my guidance. And again, check the links in the description, see what I found. I will definitely put something in there as I find them. But my recommendation is if you can stretch up to that $1,100-1,200 range, that's a much safer place to be, and you're going to get a far better experience. So that's the best gaming laptops 2021. What did you think? Did you find some better deals? If so, make sure to put them down in the description. And if they are really good deals, I'll go ahead and put them down in the description itself so you can check it out. As always, thank you very much for watching the video. He really appreciates it. Remember to like the video, especially if you like the cat, and if you like the deals, and subscribe for more content. With that, we'll catch you on the next one.